Time for a swim? Well, all right. Best wishes. Very well.
It's over!
Beautiful. Spring is here. Gotta cool off. Let's go. Yes. Yes. Spring is sprung, of course. Time for a swim? Best wishes. Very well. Don't get too excited. Yes. Let's go. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Gotta cool off. Don't get too excited. Yes. All right, best wishes.
Hey everyone, GuardianE here with another Camilla Emblem clear video in Fire Emblem Heroes. Today we're taking on the all-new Legendary Hero Alm, Saint King, on his very own Legendary Hero battle on Abyssal difficulty. So we finally have Alm in the game, much anticipated, probably one of the most anticipated Legendary Heroes. He's finally here, and he is quite the bruiser, sporting a unique bow and his own unique special. He definitely is a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. As far as his Legendary Hero map is concerned, it's actually relatively lenient. You have a lot of open space, especially if you're using flyers. It starts you out not in a cramped area, you have enough room for positioning. All of the enemy forces are beyond this sort of wall and trenched off area, as well as these breakable walls. which allows you to sort of funnel them as you please down these two sides. The breakable walls also serve as a mechanism by which to distract the enemy, since they're going to prioritize breaking the walls as they advance, which gives you time to regroup and reorganize yourself. Now, as with any Legendary Hero map, there are going to be a series of reinforcements. There will be 3 total sets of reinforcements, which is actually, I think, on the low side. I think most Legendary Hero battles have 4 or 5. I might be misremembering, but it seems low because it seems pretty manageable. The number of reinforcements that appear with each wave isn't too crazy. You get 2 here, 3 there, so it's certainly manageable. Now, the reinforcements will appear behind you on the bridge, so they will try to flank you, but as long as you're positioning yourself correctly, it shouldn't pose too much of a problem, and you won't get overwhelmed. This wall also serves a purpose since a lot of the enemy forces are ranged. In fact, pretty much every unit in the initial wave is ranged besides this Sword Cavalier. The wall here allows you to bait the enemy units accordingly and enemy phase them accordingly as well. Now, the enemies will not wait for you on turn 1, they will rush you. Except for Alm, he'll sit back for a couple of turns, but otherwise the other enemy forces will move forward, so you can't just kind of sit and reorganize yourself to bait your approach or to set yourself up for an approach on a particular side. You do want to make yourself prepared on turn 1 to engage. It also seems as though the reinforcements are not tied to a particular unit death, so it's not as though you can bait a certain unit or tank a certain unit and leave them alive so that you can strategically time when the reinforcements appear so you can set yourself up. I don't think that's an option. I think the reinforcements happen regardless on waves 1, 2, and 3. So let's take a look at the first wave of enemy troops. Naturally, let's start with Alm, the Saint King himself. He has his Luna Arc, his special bow, which does damage, basically has a sort of a mini Moonbow effect. It's not exactly Moonbow, it's like mini Lunar Brace, however you want to call it, but essentially it inflicts additional damage based upon the opponent's defense. And he also has Lunar Flash, his own special, 2 cooldown weapon. Of course, he starts the match with it at a 0 cooldown, so he will proc it as soon as he attacks into you. It is sort of a combination of a mini Moonbow and a Regnal Astra, mini Regnal Astra. So boosts damage based upon his speed, which he can definitely take advantage of with his 51 speed, his 51 base speed. Comes with Darting Blow 4, so he gets 9 when he initiates against the opponent, which adds to his damage, of course. Also makes it very difficult to not get doubled by him unless you have a skill that prevents it. However, he has Null Follow-Up 3 for his B-Slot, which disables foes' skills that guarantee a foe follow-up attack, or prevents follow-up attacks, which means that if you're using a Wary Fighter or have another skill tied into the weapon like Myrrh that would prevent follow-up attacks, this will nullify that. And then he has enough speed when it goes back to the speed check to probably double you if you're tanking that hit. Attack speed bond 3 for his seal, just to add to his attack and speed. It's a pretty good choice. And odd attack wave 3, which is again a very good choice for him on turn 1 when he initiates against you. If you decide to bait him, he's going to get all of those delicious buffs. He's going to get +6 to his attack, as well as the bond effect, as well as the darting blow. So definitely a very, very big threat here. In front of him is this blue mage, this Blarblade mage, that has Steady Posture as well as Dull Ranged 3, Distant Guard 3, and even Defense Wave 3. So on turn 2, he's going to be giving a defensive buff to Alm, as well as providing him just all the time this Distant Guard 3. Alm's defenses traditionally aren't really all that much to write home about. However, he does prevent doubles, essentially, because he has such high native speed, and with the Abyssal level stats, I mean, 35 defense and 31 res definitely isn't anything to scoff at, and it's definitely going to be able to tank some hits, so that is still annoying, even though he's more of a player phase unit. That does bolster his defenses. We also have this Cleric off to the side. She has Panic Plus, Physic Plus, Earthfire Balm, Live to Serve, as well as Attack +3, and she comes with Speed Opening 3. Now this is critical because, naturally, Alm is going to be the speediest unit on the enemy team, which means that she just gives him an additional +6, which not only adds to his speed automatically, his whopping 51 speed, but of course that also adds to his damage because of the way that his Lunar Flash works and the fact that it's at a 0-turn cooldown. We also have this red mage in the back with a Rauder Raven, Triangle Adept, Axe Breaker, Drive Res 3, and Fire Boost 3. Comes with Blazing Flame. We've got this green bow user off to the side. He has a brave bow and life and death, so a strictly player phase unit, and he is a threat sitting out there. Comes with guard, so he's not going to be charging your specials. And he has odd speed wave 3. If he moves forward and engages, then he might be able to pair up with Alm, which would give him more of a guaranteed speed boost if the cleric goes down. So that's something to watch out for. We have the Sword Cavalier off to the side, Brave Sword, Reciprocal Aid, and Escutcheon, defensive special, as well as Warding Blow 3, Guard 3, Drive Defense 3, and Poison Strike. I mean, he's intended to kind of just barrel in, act as a blockade, attack, do damage, debuff, do some poison damage, and tank a hit. He's intended to just kind of tank hits and not charge your specials in the process. So those are the enemy forces in a nutshell. Let's go ahead and take a look at the core Camilla Emblem team to see what adjustments we made to take on this legendary hero battle. So starting with Vanilla Camilla here, she's merged at +10, has a speed asset, Camilla's Axe, Reposition, Draconic Aura, Distant Counter for the A slot, Renewal for the B slot, Hone Flyers for the C slot, and Brazen Attack Res 3 for the seal. Didn't actually have to make any adjustments to Vanilla Camilla. Her default kit, or the traditional kit that I run in with Blind, worked pretty well in this map. Next up we have Spring Princess Camilla. Spring Princess Camilla is also merged at +10 and also has a speed asset. Gronraven Triangle Adept build, Reposition Draconic Aura, Vantage for the B slot, and Goat Flyers for the C slot. So very close to the traditional build that I use with her, again going in blind, except I swapped in her seal, Distant Defense 3, which is what I usually use for Iote's Shield. The extra damage that Alm inflicts because of effective damage against Spring Princess Camilla made it more difficult to tank him. So Iote's Shield kind of does the job here, and so that's why we ended up swapping that in. Traditionally, and in most cases, Distant Defense 3 is a fine substitute, if not a better substitute, because it helps her tank against mages as well. Next we have New Year's Camilla. So Holiday Traveler Camilla also merged at +10 and has a speed asset, Slaying Edge Plus with the attack refinement, Reposition, Gale Force, Brazen Attack Speed 3 for the A slot, Desperation 3 for the B slot, Fortify Flyers for the C slot, and Heavy Blade 3 for the seal. Brazen skills are excellent skills to use in Abyssal modes, because oftentimes you're going to be taking damage throughout the course of the map, which will easily put you in a Brazen range, and it'll just help you reach those higher damage, speed, or defensive thresholds. Fortify Flyers was important just to provide some defensive buffs to Spring Camilla on the opening gambit, which we'll see in a little bit. And finally, we have Tropical Beauty Camilla, merged at +1. Summer Camilla has an attack asset. She has Blarblade Plus, Reposition Draconic Aura. For the A slot, I gave her Triangle Adept 3 since she is going to be engaging a lot of reds, and that's going to come in handy. Desperation for the B slot, Goat Flyers for the C slot, and Drive Attack 2 for the seal. The Drive Attack just provided an additional boost to the surrounding Camillas to secure a couple of key kills throughout the course of the map, and she wasn't really using the flyer formation that I traditionally have on her. Alright, so now let's get started. The very first thing we want to do is plant Spring Camilla right here. She's going to be in the range of the Blue Mage and Alm, and she has color advantage against both of them, which is exactly what we want. With all of the defensive buffs, if you see, she has the Hone and the Fortify on her, as well as the Triangle Adept and the Iote's Shield. All of that together allows her to tank the Lunar Flash, as well as the follow-up attack. So let's do that. Let's plant Spring Camilla right there. And then regroup in T formation behind, so that everybody is getting the Hone Flyers buff for next turn. Alm's going to proc that Lunar Flash, do a lot of damage, but not going to kill. Now, the null follow-up is going to prevent Spring Camilla from doubling back. She's just not going to be able to have the speed, and if you try to put Quick Riposte on Spring Camilla, obviously the null follow-up will cancel that out. But that's okay, we can now use Spring Camilla on player phase against Alm. She has her Draconic Aura charged. We have Alm to thank for that, and she's going to proc it and take out Alm in one shot. Now, the first set of reinforcements have appeared. We have this Axe Flyer in the back here with Slaying Axe, a Water Boost, Desperation, Speed Smoke, and Iceberg. Nothing too threatening, but she does have ridiculous res. So you do want to just try to engage her with a physical unit. The Lance Knight over here has Rider's Bane, Sacred Cowl, as well as Fortress Defense Res 2, Knockback, and Panic Ploy. As long as you're out of the range of the Panic Ploy, Basically, the only two ploys on the enemy team are on the right-hand side. So as long as you stay out of that range, you don't have to worry about the ploy effect. It's interesting that he has Sacred Cowl, which obviously reduces damage from a ranged unit, but it's at a 2-turn cooldown. I would have expected Intelligent Systems to give him a 1-turn cooldown on this to prevent doubles from killing him. He also doesn't have a seal, and I think, honestly, he probably would have been better served with Wary Fighter. I'm not sure why they ended up doing that, but I'm not going to look a Gift Horse in the mouth. We're going to use Summer Camilla. She has the Hone Flyer's effect, so that's going to charge up the Blarblade, and she's going to double and kill the Lance Knight on player phase. The unit that is going to overextend next turn is going to be the Sword Cavalier here, so we just want to make sure whoever we put in danger range is going to be able to tank and enemy phase the Sword Cavalier, and that is going to be New Year's Camilla. So we're just going to softly regroup back here. We're going to use New Year's Camilla to engage the Axe Flyer. Then High Res isn't going to help her against New Year's Camilla. Activate Gale Force in the process, and then we're going to reposition Spring Camilla to safety. On the following turn, the Sword Cavalier is now going to run forward and attack New Year's Camilla, putting her in brazen range, and New Year's Camilla will double back, doing significant damage. The nice thing about doing residual damage to the enemy forces is that'll keep the Cleric at bay. She's going to prioritize healing, so that's a good thing. We do want that. The Sword Cavalier kind of did it themselves because they used Reciprocal Aid on Alm, but nevertheless, we'll take that to our advantage. And of course, the next set of enemy reinforcements have appeared. We have this Lance Fighter off to the side, an infantry unit, Harmonic Lance, speed +3 refinement, Glimmer, Fury, Desperation, Drive Speed, and Brazen Attack Defense 3. Has significant speed. This unit has 43 speed, which is pretty impressive, as well as very solid mixed defenses. So he's going to be difficult to one-shot on player phase. Luckily, he's an infantry unit, so he's just going to kind of trudge his way forward, and he's a melee unit, so we don't have to worry too much about ranged hits from him. But he is a threat. He's probably going to take a couple hits to take out. This Red Cavalier off to the side has a pretty standard kit. Nothing crazy here. Speed 2 Refinement, Glimmer, Swift Sparrow, Seal Defense Res 2, Speed Ploy. Like I was mentioning before, as long as you stay out of the right-hand side, you're not going to get ployed by any of these units. And Drive Attack 2. And we have this Axe Cavalier that appeared in the back. Slaying Hammer, so an armor-effective weapon. Iceberg, Fury, Lunge, and Drive Attack 2. Lunge is always kind of a threat, but he's so far back now that it's not really going to come into play. Lunge on these maps is usually kind of a huge potential threat, because what it'll do is the enemy will rush forward and engage. They love to put it on cavalry units, and then swap spaces with your unit, and put your unit in basically the danger zone of other units, of other enemy forces. But that's not really a threat here. So we're just going to take the time to fall back, since they're going to have to funnel on the left and the right-hand side, and the right-hand side features more of kind of the threats to our team. We're just going to fall back to the lower left, since we also know that reinforcements are going to be appearing, while taking out the immediate threat, which is the Sword Cavalier. So we're just going to fall back here, move to the corner, put Vanilla Camilla still in the range of the Blue Mage, which is absolutely no problem. The Blue Mage has Blarblade, but Camilla, with these defensive stats, as well as the distant counter, she's not going to be, and the color advantage, of course, she's not going to be worried about that. We'll use Summer Camilla to finish off the Sword Cavalier, and then we're just going to move New Year's Camilla into the safe zone. So like I said, Vanilla Camilla is going to enemy phase that Blue Mage. The rest of the troops are going to move forward and funnel. So on this turn, because we took up the bottom row here, it displaced this Sword Dragon, which is good for us, as you'll see in just a moment. This Sword Dragon has Safeguard, Iceberg, 47 defense. So the Axe Flyer from the last one had ridiculous res. This Sword Dragon has ridiculous defense. She has Earth Boost as well as Obstruct, Speed Smoke, and Distant Defense 3. This Bow Cavalier is actually a huge threat, has Slaying Bow, Moonbow, Darting Stance, Escape Route, and Threatened Defense 3. So a bow user is naturally going to be a threat to a flyer team. It's weird that they gave him Darting Stance because his native speed is 27, so even with that additional 6 on enemy phase, he's not really going to be doubling a whole lot of people, so it's kind of an unusual choice there. But regardless, on this next turn, this wall is really helping us out, because it's basically blocking off all of these units from moving forward and engaging on us, and that's what I meant by kind of having favorable or advantageous terrain for the player on this map, just because this wall and these breakable walls allows you to stall against the enemy forces. So now we're going to use Summer Camilla. She is fully loaded. She has both the Hone and the Fortify buffs, And we're going to shift her right up here so she can engage the Sword Dragon. Take her out. And now that she's up here, she's going to still be providing a drive buff to New Year's Camilla so that when she engages on the green bow, she is going to be able to double and kill, activate Gale Force in the process. Then she will move down here, take out the Bow Cavalier, double and kill on player phase, also charging Gale Force in the process. Now Summer Camilla is planted here deliberately. That's why I gave her Triangle Adept, because she is now in the range of both of the red mages, which is exactly what we want, because she can tank them and kill them on enemy phase. We're just going to reposition everybody else to safety in the meantime. There she goes. And there she goes. And now it's just cleanup. None of the remaining forces are really all that threatening. This Lance Fighter that I was talking about before is remarkably tanky, but we can just double up on him and take him out with both of the mages here. And now we can just use New Year's Camilla to activate Gale Force and clean up the rest of the troops. Easy peasy. And that's it. So that is the strategy that I employed to clear Saint King Alm's Legendary Hero battle on Abyssal difficulty. In the comments below, let me know what strategies and teams you ended up using to clear this Abyssal level challenge. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the video and watching the strategy. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with us. We really, really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.